Zenless Zone Zero is currently my favorite gacha, and I have come to terms with the fact that eventually Mihoyo is probably gonna ruin it. Mihoyo has a really big reoccurring problem where they will slowly but surely ruin their games. Honkai Impact 3's downward spiral started during the Elysian realm arc and hit a fever pitch during the finality arc. Insane power creep where every character was getting immediately power crept 1 or 2 patches after release, and the story was a complete disaster. Hours of fake science mumbo jumbo, bizarre conclusions, and payoff to year-long story arcs. For some asinine reason, they started breaking the fourth wall, disappointing character designs. It was a mess. It got to the point where I had to force myself to play the conclusion of Kiana's story. I stopped playing 2 years ago and I haven't looked back. Genshin Impact, oh Genshin Impact, how I used to love you. I think we all know how much of an absolute atrocity Genshin Impact became. Their many failures are well documented, and I've been talking about it for the past 5 years, so let's not repeat ourselves and move on. Honkai Star Rail's fall from grace was sad to see. At launch, the game showed so much promise. Good music, very basic combat, but fun for what it was, good character designs, and a great story in its Belobog chapter. It wasn't perfect, the flaws with its gameplay were obvious from the start, the Shinjo Laofu story was horrible, and other such issues. But with proper love and ambition, it could have grown into something truly exemplary. But on the cusp of the much dreaded version 3.2, aka Castor's update, the game throughout its short 2-year lifespan has slowly rotted away into a shambling corpse of greed. Absurd power creep, some of the worst storytelling I've seen in years, almost no content, and what little content it does have is badly made, etc. Mihoyo is incapable of doing even the bare minimum. They will blatantly ignore the community for years, only ever making improvements after massive waves of backlash like the infamous Google Classroom incident. Mihoyo's core business strategy seems to be to release a new game, focus all of their quality of life, good content releases, fancy cinematics, and more on their newest product while simultaneously abandoning their previous game. It happened with Impact 3rd when Genshin released, it happened to Genshin when Star Rail released, and it is currently happening to Star Rail with Zenless release. In 9 short months, Zenless has made some massive improvements and core fundamental changes. They abandoned the TV system, one of the core gameplay systems, because of massive community backlash. Continuously release a wide variety of characters with great designs and gameplay. Have added multiple new permanent in-game content, a variety of fun, unique, temporary events, and the story is phenomenal. The game is not perfect by any means, but currently it is the best Mihoyo game currently on the market, which has me worried because the pattern is already repeating. One game has a glorious launch while the previous golden child falls from grace. If you are new to my channel or have only seen my Zenless and recent non-Mihoyo videos, the rest of this video is going to be surprisingly negative. But none of this is new. I've felt like this about Mihoyo for a long time now. I'd say it started with Genshin's first anniversary. I try to be mainly positive nowadays because of reasons, but but I need to get this off my chest. We know that Mihoyo is currently working on another game. Does this mean that it's only a matter of time until the same fate befalls my current favorite gacha? Is it only a matter of time until Zenless is infested with rampant power creep? Until the story quality swan dives off of a cliff? Until we get less and less content and what little content we do get is boring and badly designed? I want to believe that I'm being overly paranoid, that Mihoyo won't do the same thing again, but the pattern is staring me right in the face. Papa Mario didn't raise no fool. I've already lived through the agonizing death of the Sonic franchise. The writing's on the wall. Now, this is going to sound like me being a simple fanboy holding on to delusion, but I do have faith in the Zenless developers. They're different compared to the devs of the other Mihoyo games. The Zenless team is made up of young, new developers that got together and made a passion project. The Zenless team had something to prove and gave it their all when making their first game. That love and passion can be felt throughout the entirety of Zenless. The animation quality alone speaks volumes. Do you have any idea how painstakingly difficult it is to continuously release characters, NPCs, enemies, and cinematics every 6 weeks of this freakishly high quality? That's not to say the developers of the other games don't care, but the young bloods full of ambition and something to prove are clearly more willing to push back on the higher ups' nonsense. I do not blame any of the day-to-day workers, the people slaving away in front of a computer screen to make new content every 6 weeks. Game development is a nightmare, even more so on such a tight schedule, but who I do blame are the higher ups, the people calling the shots and deciding what content gets made and added to the games. We know for a fact that one of the people responsible for many of the problems befalling Mihoyo games was one of the co-founders. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm just going to put it up on screen and show a picture of him. He used to be chairman but stepped down 2 years ago. A lot of the terrible decisions of Genshin Impact and Honkai Impact 3rd can be traced back to him. Luckily though, he seemingly is staying far away from Zenless. The current chairman, Da Wei, is better but not without fault. Crying because he doesn't understand why people are mad at Genshin was certainly a choice. I do not for a second believe those crocodile tears. You are not some innocent angel. You know exactly why people are mad. Multiple years to put your foot down and improve Genshin, but nothing has changed. I do not understand what these people are trying to achieve with their blatant abandonment and mistreatment of their players. They do not lose anything by giving away good rewards like summons, free 5 stars, and skins, or making high quality game modes and stories. In fact, they have everything to gain. But over and over again, they make the same stupid decisions and slowly ruin their games. Why? What is the goal? What could they possibly gain from this stupidity? What's worse is that they blatantly exploit their players. At the end of the day, gacha games are gambling simulators, and it is extremely easy to succumb to addiction. Every gacha exploits their players to some extent, but Mihoyo treats it like a weapon. They bank on players succumbing to addiction as well as fostering a parasocial environment. They see the bonds players form with the characters and worlds of their games and exploit that connection. Have you ever noticed that they've never addressed any of the many horrid things that Genshin community has done? Sending death threats, attacking people on the internet, straight up racism and sexism, harassing voice actors and artists. Oh, but when people criticize the Genshin developers, that way is quick to cry in order to make us feel bad. Players will fight to hell and back because of their unhealthy bond to Mihoyo, and the higher ups know that. In fact, I think it's a core business plan. They want to foster that type of relationship, and quite frankly, it's disgusting. A lot of people were introduced to gacha games because of Genshin and Starrail. As a result, they think that what Mihoyo does is normal. Horrible rewards, either no endgame content or incredibly stale stat checks, no cosmetics, horrible storytelling, RNG infested equipment, almost no events, garbage anniversaries, etc. is normal. But in truth, Mihoyo treats their players far worse than a lot of gachas currently on the market, as well as old, long since shut down games. Like my beloved Destiny Child. The game, not the band. These players mindlessly defend a company that couldn't care less about them. A company that only sees people as walking bags of money, which is just sad. Mihoyo being the most successful gacha company is honestly a bad thing. They have set the standard for what your average consumer thinks a gacha game should be. People don't realize that gachas don't have to be so bad. They don't have to treat you like garbage. To this day, Destiny Child was the most generous, free-to-play friendly gacha I've ever played. Phenomenal story, great music, gorgeous character designs, and insanely generous. Every update would have one of 3 events: a world boss, a raid battle, or narrative dungeon, and we would always get 2 or 3 new characters. Simply by participating in the event, players could get 3 copies of one of the new characters. You heard me right, just by participating. And every event had an event shop where we could get multiple 5-star character and equipment tickets, the highest rarity. Using it would give you a character or equipment of that rarity. Summon currency, various level up and ascension materials, free skins, sometimes one, sometimes multiple, and a bunch of other stuff. Twice a year, they would also have a special event called Lisa's Lessons, where just by doing some very simple things like leveling up a character or participating in a stage, you could get 7 fully built characters for free. Max level, skills maxed out, good equipment automatically equipped. It was crazy. And these weren't like really old, ancient, horrible units. No, you could get 7 modern, really powerful, fully built characters for free. If you've ever watched my previous videos and wondered why I love Destiny Child so much, this is part of the reason, because of how generous they were. The players were more than happy to spend money. Destiny Child was never super popular, but it did have a strong, immensely loyal following. To the point that we had an ongoing joke where we would beg the developers to give us more ways to spend money to help support them. I will never forgive ShiftUp for shutting down this game after they released Nikkei Goddess of Victory. I am still furious. Gachas don't need to be anti-consumer. To some degree, they always will be, because it's just gambling at the end of the day. But similar to Destiny Child, there are things that these games can do to offset that and be player friendly. But because so many people only know Mihoyo or were introduced to gachas because of them, they think that they are being treated fairly, when in reality they're not. Mihoyo being as successful as they are is honestly an anomaly. A lot of gachas are released every year, and the majority of them shut down within 1 or 2 years. Why? Simple. They treat their players like trash. Realistically, Genshin should have been one of those games, but because of the pandemic, being the right game at the right time, they survived longer than they probably should have. Honestly, I wish that gachas had a more player-friendly company as its face. That way, players would have a more player-friendly standard that other games and companies had to live up to. In my opinion, if any Mihoyo game deserved to be the face of gachas, it's Zenless. It's an incredibly high quality game with better rewards. It's not the most player-friendly gacha I've played, but it certainly is the most player-friendly Mihoyo game. But for as much as I love Zenless, at the first sign of Mihoyo's typical nonsense, I am gone. Truth be told, the anniversary is going to play a major role on whether or not I keep playing. If the anniversary has the same shitty rewards that Genshin and Star Rail get, then that's strike 1. 2 more strikes and I'm gone. But I'm gonna say it right now, global passives are a grand slam. As soon as that shit gets announced, I'm uninstalling and never looking back. Hopefully Ananta releases soon, so I have a backup plan. Honkai Impact 3rd, Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Zenless Zone Zero. All 4 of these games deserve so much better. Fantastic, amazing, glorious characters, worlds, and stories, wasted on a company who could not give 2 shits about their players or games. Zenless is my final Mihoyo game, regardless of whether or not they ruin it. I'll keep playing and enjoying it for as long as I can, but I'm done with this company. When they inevitably release their next game, I will stay as far away from it as possible. Hopefully they won't ruin Zenless, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share your own thoughts in the comments below. And if you really liked the video, consider becoming a channel member for only $5 a month. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.